I'm streaming this from my or tethering this from my phone tonight, so it should work.
Could go well.
Yeah, it will go well. It's good 4 or 5G around here.
Oh, okay.
Guys, you're on.
Oh, hello. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Grassroots Football Show on East London Radio. We do apologise. We're just having a little casual conversation there. Welcome along. It is Thursday, the 7th of September, and it's been a very, very busy, if not very hot week. And I must admit, shout out to Martin, because I've got better curtains than he has. Shout out to him and his curtains. But thank you very much for being here this evening. Before we start, and Ian, if you can obviously get the honours ready. Yesterday, an absolute legend of this show celebrated a birthday. So happy belated birthday to Mr. Peter Dudley.
Yay, happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Happy birthday, Pete.
Thank you. Well done. Well done. How did you spend your birthday?
At work. Yeah. No, it's funny because it's the first birthday since 2018 I've actually worked. Because
Really?
I'm normally on holiday this time of year, aren't I? So
yes, of course you are. Yeah.
But it feels like I'm in Greece because it's that warm. So I said because I'm not going to Greece this year. The weather's come to me.
Oh.
I've got a week. It's a nice week of hot weather because it does feel like I'm in Greece. But no, it was a good day. Yeah, I'm in a stuffy office, but I was with four of the admin girls, and they sang "Happy Birthday" to me when I walked in the office in the morning. So that was embarrassing, but good at the same time. Yeah, no. So and I went for a meal last night with stepmom, so it was a good day. So
that's good. Really, really, really pleased for you, Pete. Well, we've got a lot to talk about this evening. We're going to discuss obviously all the week's action, FA Cup, League, managerial changes, all sorts, and we're also obviously discussing for hopefully 5 years of the Step 6 division in the region, and we'll also be talking about an issue, although higher up the non-league pyramid, that could have consequences as well for the non-league pyramid as well. The situations with Southend United. But what I'm going to do to start the programme this evening is I'm going to talk about a situation involving a club that happened actually. We didn't have a show last week. I'll be honest, that was our fault because the bank holiday threw us, but like it does every year. But yeah, since obviously last Friday, we got the very sad, terrible news that an old historic club in Essex, East Thurrock United, were folding, well, not so much folding. Their first team were folding due to historical. I think the reasoning was historical debts.
Yeah.
Among other things. There's been a lot of obviously furore about this on social media. The owner now former owner of the club, Alfie Best, has received a lot of abuse on social media from what I've read. Pete, I'll start with you. East Thurrock, in my opinion, and I will say this on X, I said this on Twitter to a Canvey supporter the other day. I said, I don't think that club has been the same since Cobbo left. But I was shocked that it's gone the way it has. And it's horrible to see because they have been a great little club down there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've had many good days down there watching them. I think one of the best days I saw them play was when they beat Canvey Island 2-0 on Bank Holiday Monday a few years ago in front of several hundred people. It was a really good. That was when on the up to their conference South days back then, because they did get to Step 2. Yeah. But then obviously they sort of hit a wall. They managed to survive at that level for quite a few years. It just was testament to a club of their size. And then they've been going, and then obviously went back the other way, and it's not been the same, as you say, since. And unfortunately, it's culminated now with this terrible news that we heard. It is a shame because I mean they're quite they've got a lot of history, and nice. They're a nice little club. It's just a shame to see. You don't want to see any club go to the wall, doesn't matter who it is. But
exactly,
yeah, it is a shame for the people. Obviously, the volunteers involved as well. You know, there's a lot of people involved in the football club, and they're all obviously now trying to find different clubs now, which is a shame.
Exactly. Your thoughts, Ashley?
Yeah, I'd just echo what Pete's saying there, that, you got all the volunteers, the people that run the club, players, the management, the whole setup of that sort of first team suddenly overnight has gone. So got to feel sorry for them, and hope that they can sort of maybe come back next year in a different form and start again, maybe. But it's a real shame, isn't it? You just kind of just knocked out completely out of the setup, and you have to see if somebody can pick it up and run it again.
Yeah, it was really, really, really sad to see. And obviously, Pete, you made a good point on our group chat earlier in the week about obviously they lost Terry Keating as well.
Yeah,
didn't they?
Terry. Yeah, well-known supporter and committee member at the club, and so it's not been good time for the club. Obviously, losing Terry was a big part of the club, and then obviously the club's now folded, so it's a bit of a shame.
It is a massive shame, and obviously they got the FA Cup first round proper a couple of times, didn't they? They also, and to be fair, they finished just below the top half of the National League South about 5-6 years ago. So
exactly.
And they were punching and competing against big clubs as well. So they were
punching above their weight for a few years. So they really were. I mean, they're not compared to some clubs in this part of the world. They're not a big one. So
definitely.
But they were always a bit like Concord. Really, Concord were doing the same stuff. Them and Concord.
Exactly.
But it's a shame that it's come to this, unfortunately, due to historical stuff, which is
it is a shame. I just hope, Ashley, you just mentioned it there actually about that they could obviously come back in a different form. Do you think there's a possibility they could do what Harlow have done, like see the year and then start, say, back maybe in the third line south next year, or even lower if it comes to it?
Yeah, I think so. I think that they've got to aim for that, really, haven't they? I know for the time being, all the other teams like the under 18s, etc., that they've got there are going to continue, and the kids and that they've got going. They're going to keep that running. So hopefully, if they can keep that running to the end of the season, they'll get a bit of momentum up and they can reform again, like you say, like Harlow did quite successfully at step six. So
what do you call it? We have obviously as well. We've got another club that actually plays there in our region, is Basildon Town. So what I think is important is the fact that Baz Town are staying there as well, and I think Pete, that is really, really important.
Yeah, well, I obviously did wonder when I saw the news, but obviously after reading the statement, they did say that they can continue there. So whether that's past this season, I don't know, but now at least they're secure for this season, which is the main thing. Because I mean, they can now concentrate on the season and not try to find somewhere to play, because that's the last thing they need. So,
exactly, that could cause a whole load of problems. So we wish everyone involved with East Thurrock well. It's also nice to see that there's a Twitter account as East Thurrock fans. Obviously, they want to be part of it. Well, hopefully, I'm going to try and get them on maybe in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, because now it's obvious they're going to start down at our level. So it'd be nice to hear what they've got basically planned for the club. Another thing I want to mention as well is obviously, again, they're not with us. They're not part of our coverage patch now because they've moved on a little bit. Thoughts with everyone at Enfield after the tragic passing of their director, Simon Needham. Now, this show doesn't really do politics. Now, everyone have seen the statements that have been put out this week and the reactions to it. It's not our place to say whatever at the moment or any opinions, but our thoughts are with Simon's family and everyone at Enfield. And all we could say on the matter is we just hope the club can get things sorted. Yeah.
But that's the most important thing is Simon, so his family and his people close to him are supported, because it's an absolute terrible, tragic event that's happened. And, anything else is really sort of bears into insignificance, but at the same time, we don't want the club to then go under as well. So
exactly,
But right now, Simon, remembering Simon and remembering the good times with Simon and his family and supporting them is the most important thing at the moment.
Oh yeah, definitely. But at the same time, regardless of what's been said, we just hope Enfield can sort things out and get themselves sorted out, obviously, because obviously Simon's passing, regardless of what you make of what's been read, what have obviously caused a big, big tremor.
Well, it's not something you expect to happen, is it?
Yeah, exactly. So
it was. Yeah, it's just very sad how it's all happened. Yeah, very, very sad.
So, and was obviously a shame, really, because obviously all delighted for Simon, delighted for Enfield that finally back at step 4 after 15 years below stairs.
Yeah.
And then not long back into it, something like this happens. So, but yeah, and I'm going to say this as well. It is really important to mention this, and we will always say this on the show. We have read about circumstances and stuff like that, and all I'm going to say is, if you're struggling, please talk to someone. Please seek help. That is really, really important.
Yep.
So that's really, really important to say.
Yeah.
Definitely. On a more positive note, where I'm going to mention another club that has really inspiring at the moment, and that is the the adventures of the Millers, Aveley. And again, I know they're out of their coverage patch, but the story, honestly, Pete's smiling, and it is brilliant. I mean, Aveley, top of the National League South this week. They only went and beat. People are going to be like, what?
Well, the thing is, they won't be because they're in this area.
I'm going to say this very slowly. Aveley beat former EFL side Torquay United at home in the National South 2-1. Portsmouth haven't won their last 5 meetings against Torquay. Aveley, but fair play. I know Scopesy obviously has got pedigree for the job he done at Concord, but little Aveley not only sharing a league with the likes of Torquay, but beating them and then going top of the National South, beating Maidstone in their own backyard Tuesday night. Yeah. I mean, Ash. I'm speechless. This could be, honestly, on the way to a third successive from us. It's an unbelievable story. How well have they have done? Aveley, it's
little
incredible.
Old Aveley. It's just magical, isn't it, for the club, where they've come from and that, and how they've gone up leagues and that sort of thing. And I think they've signed a few good players as well. They got Charlie Hughes there that's scored a few goals recently as well, and they look really strong. And I think, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, there's a few people put down their league, what they thought the league was going to be before the end, and Aveley was always in the bottom 4 of all the ones.
Aveley was bottom.
And it shows what football is, doesn't it? It's you can't predict it, can you? Sometimes.
I think Aveley are loving this small team tag, and you're only a bus stop at Lakeside or something. Was that what telling you?
You're only a bus stop at Lakeside.
And the thing is, things like that will just spur you on, won't it? Because it's like everyone's out to say, yeah, they're coming straight down. They're not going to do anything. And on top of that, they've had 8 games in the top of the division. It's like,
they're top, and they've played some really good teams, haven't they? Like Ad said, they've played Torquay.
I mean, a note of caution, they've only had 8 games, and it only takes a spell for them to struggle when they might. But it doesn't look like that, and look who's in charge of them.
Yeah,
and he was manager at Concord, and he did quite well managing them in the same division. So, Scopes has got a lot of knowledge. He's got a lot of knowledge. He's got that what the old black book, as we call it. He knows a lot of players. He's got some good players in playing for him. They're a strong side. And I saw them play at Billericay in the pre-season. They were very strong, and they are serious about it. And, do you know what? And one person I'm really pleased for is Craig Johnson, because
you know him well, didn't you?
I've known Craig since 1990 when he was Whitman Town player manager, and it was always his dream to get the new ground over he got, and now he's got them into step 2 football, and they're not just surviving, they're actually more than competing with teams that are way above what they ever dreamed of playing in a league football. And they're top of the league as you go into September. It's great, isn't it?
And they went to Worthing as well. They went to Worthing, who are fancy for the league. Their budget.
Worthing's budget is massive. And they've gone there and they've beaten them.
Yeah, Worthing. Worthing's budget apparently is at least between 5 to 10 times Aveley's. I've read somewhere that might not be true.
Worthing are really going for it this year. So you know, it's I mean, it just says the thing is they've got nothing to lose, everything to gain. And whilst people keep calling them a small team and all that, and a bus stop in Lakeside, it's just going to spur them on. I mean, people, you know, teams will now be looking and going, they're actually the real deal now. So, you know, it's just I think it's great. I'm absolutely over the moon for Craig and the club. I really am. It's just so it just shows what you can do if you run if you run a club how it should be run, a well-run club. You can achieve You can achieve anything, can't you?
Exactly. I mean, sharing a league with some of the names you've got there is just, sharing a league with Torquay United. They also, for the record, they're also, as we know, sharing a league with Yeovil Town. Just so you know, 10 years ago, around this time, Yeovil were in between fixtures where they just beaten Nottingham Forest, and the next game they lost 1-0 at home to Harry Redknapp's QPR in the Championship. Wow. And this season, they're going to be playing at Aveley.
Didn't Yeovil? Didn't they win 5-2 at City Ground in the playoff game once?
Yes,
Yeovil. They did, didn't they? And that wasn't that long ago.
That was 15 years ago.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, that's the flip side to it all. Someone like Yeovil and Torquay to a certain extent. I mean, Yeovil were in the Championship. They're now in regional football. You know, it's like this. It just shows, and that's what happens if you don't do things correctly. So you know, it works both ways, doesn't it? So
what do you call it? Now, to be honest, right, this is I did laugh a little bit in the nicest possible way because it was mad. Just after the allocations were announced, there was someone who put an aerial view of Parkside Stadium on Twitter, and it was a Yeovil fan. And he turned around and said, "From Leeds and Leicester away to this in under 10 years." Yeah.
So you imagine you're a fan. You imagine you're a fan of those clubs, and you're now. I mean, this is no disrespect to Aveley or any other teams, because you know they've earned their right to be there, like the way they've been going. But fan of Yeovil playing in the National South, you're thinking, what is going on? You think, I mean, they've been like that for a few years. They've been in decline, haven't they, for a while? So, but it just shows you nobody's immune to it. If you don't do things right off the field, it will affect on-field matters eventually, and it has, and it's happening with other teams that we know as well. So
look at Scunthorpe; they're in the sixth. I know they're National League North, but I mean, if you look at the big clubs that have fallen into the sixth tier in recent years, obviously you've got Torquay and Yeovil, obviously Scunthorpe, York, Stockport as well.
Darlington. Is it Darlington?
Darlington fell through. Bury fell through. So
and even Mansfield fell into the National League for a bit as well. It's not easy to get out as well. But once you get sucked down into it, it's a hard thing to get back up again. I mean,
Oldham, Chesterfield, Notts County, and Wrexham.
Exactly.
Luton. Look at Luton.
Well, exactly. I mean, Luton was a different thing because they actually got 30-point deducted at the start of the season, something that has nothing to do with the current people. So, you know, I mean, if they hadn't have a 30 points deducted, they would have finished in the playoffs. So,
I mean, to be fair though, Pete, it just showed how tough the level was. It took them 5 years to get out of it.
5 years to get out, exactly. And you know,
Cambridge, another 9 years.
I mean, Cambridge. I mean, they're now in League One, and they're punching them. I mean, they're in the playoffs in League One at the moment. So, And they're very small. They only get 7,000 for a home game, so they're a very small club, and they're punching above their weight. How they survived last year, I don't know, but they did. And
they did.
So there's many examples of teams who've gone either way. So it's and it shows you that if you do go in decline, you can always come back as well. But it takes a lot of hard work and dedication. So.
Yeah, definitely.
You got a team like Hashtag as well on the up as well.
Yeah.
They're moving up the league quite quickly, aren't they? So,
Yeah. I do apologise to listeners and viewers if you can hear a lot of motorbike noises in the background. It is the Goodwood Revival Festival, so a lot of people is obviously classic motorbikes and that sort of thing. So you get a lot of bikers, so they like to go down to Haining Island and and Portsmouth and places like that. I'm at the caravan.
He's not at Brands Hatch.
No, I'm not. I'm not at Brands Hatch. I'm
or
at
Silverstone.
So, so it's all good. But yeah, let's have a look at the start by looking at the week's action from the last week or so. I'm going to start with one game, and Pete, I mean, you've been shocked about this all week. Sunderland. I mean, what on earth happened there? I mean, I for one very much enjoyed it, but what on earth happened there?
Oh, don't ask me where that came from, because I could not believe it when I saw they were 4 up in 48 minutes. Because I was going. Where was I going on Saturday? Somewhere. FA Cup wasn't at Canvey. That's right. And I was sitting in the stand, because it was before the game, and I looked and went, Sunderland, they sold their best striker, and they're 4 up in 48 minutes. I'm like, what?
I can imagine your face. Yeah,
I can believe it. It was like, and they got a 16-year-old scoring the 5th goal, and you just think, and they've obviously got Jude Bellingham's brother playing for them. He's a good talent, and the other players who were supposed to go didn't. So it worked out. But the funny thing, Ross Stewart, who did go, he signed for Southampton. So he's probably thinking, why have I done it? That's just a ridiculous result. Amazing result. The club, Sunderland needed that badly though, because after the week they had, and there was a lot of talk about players going, and there was a bit of not total harmony, because they didn't know the club was going in the right direction and stuff. And I'm thinking, here we go again. And they go and beat Southampton 5-0. You think, oh, okay, that was don't know where it came from.
I think the only disappointing thing for me was the fact that in the bar at Bedford after 4-0, whoever was in there decided to turn it over to the Sheffield United Everton game. So that was the only disappointing thing for me.
The game was over. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but I for one, when I saw it, was very much enjoyed it.
Well, I did think you might enjoy that result. Yeah, being a
definitely. Yeah,
yeah. No, it was just what the club needed, because I think there was not. They hadn't started the season brilliantly either, so it was a very needed result. But I don't know where it came from, because I could not believe it when I saw what was going on.
We mentioned obviously Aveley, the Millers earlier, but obviously unfortunately the flip side is that Norwich, your beloved Canaries, go and lose to the other Millers.
Yeah, but this is the Championship in a nutshell, because it's the most unpredictable league in the world. And I mean the world. It's the most crazy league. I mean, you don't know what's going on. I mean, there was that season where every single team in the division had something to play for in the season. I mean, what league where does that ever happen in the football? But yeah, I mean, Norwich lost 2-1 at Rotherham. Yeah, that's not a great result, but it happens. This is the Championship, and it's 46 games, isn't it? So
yeah,
but yeah.
I mean, we love Pete, bless him. This is a man who'd rather go through the stresses and the strains of the Championship than go up to the Premier League, finish bottom, and come back again.
Well, and the other thing,
fair play to you for that.
The other good thing about not being in the Premier League is stupid VAR. You don't have it in the Championship.
Yeah. Well, at the moment,
because that lost us about 12 points the season we went down. So,
yeah.
It's probably lost a lot of teams' points. I mean, the thing is, there's such a vast gap between when you go up, you're playing against teams who've got wage bills of look at Chelsea, who've just spent £1 billion in the last year, and Man City, who have got shake owners and stuff like that. You just think you just can't compete with that sort of stuff. So there is a bit of a gap. So that's why teams have got normally have a problem. Some do stay up, and then I mean Brentford are a good example, and they went up and they've done really well. So it can be done, but I just think I mean Norwich aren't that ambitious, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it's terrifying. I mean, look at Luton as well. I mean, the fact Luton even got into the Premier League is a miracle. So
it is.
They're good. I mean, they've obviously not started well, but it just shows you the gap that you have to try and bridge if you do want to compete at the top level. So.
Definitely. Okay. Well, we'll go a bit further down, closer to home. We'll start with the FA Cup games. Ashley, I'm going to bring you in on this one. The first result we're going to mention is Woodford Town 1, Felixstowe and Walton 4. Now, Ashley, I do know that obviously that Felixstowe are a very established Isthmian League club, very good, well-run, established Step 4 club. I was very, very surprised, though, by the margin of victory. I thought it would have been a lot closer than what it was.
Yeah,
so, I was shocked. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know too much about what happened, but it's quite a sting, that really, in terms of 4 goals against. And Woodford have been doing so well, and I don't think they'd lost up until then. I'm not sure. I don't think they'd lost up until then. But yeah, as you say, Felix are a good outfit, aren't they? They've got quite a good setup there, lots of fans up there, and like you, I thought it'd been probably a 1-goal difference either way, in that. But Woodford's done well anyway in the cup this year, and they can sort of obviously concentrate on the league now, I guess.
Definitely. Pete, your thoughts? Was you surprised by that result?
I mean, a little bit, but then it might be a good thing for Woodford, because this is what they're aspiring to. Because they'll be they're potentially playing teams like that next season when they get promotion, and these. It's all well and good. I think it's all well and good saying we're expecting a close game after what they did to Bowers, and what they knocked out a couple of Hartford as well, who were also Step 4. But I think Hartford and Bowers. I mean, I don't know much about Hartford, but I know Bowers have just come down, and they're probably not in the best confidence at the moment. So that was obviously a bit of a knock. But then Woodford obviously did the job on them. Well, they were losing the first game, weren't they? So managed to come back and win the replay. And the replay was very tight. It could have gone either way. So they could have easily lost to Bowers. Felixstowe are a very well-run club. I went up there a couple of years ago, I think, when Southam Manor played them in the cup. Great club, lovely little ground, and they've started the season quite well. They're a pretty well-established Step 4 team. So they'll probably just more clinical on the day, which is what you get with a team higher level. And I would have given Woodford a look and say, this is what we want to be, and it'll probably make them stronger and really want that, and make sure they make themselves better. Because they've started this, they've won 5 of their first 6 games in the league and haven't lost yet. So. Yeah. The other interesting thing in Woodford is how do they respond to defeat? Because often when you haven't lost a game and then you do lose one, it's how you bounce back. And we'll come on to fixtures later, but they've got Holbridge at home tomorrow night, which will be a big game. So they've got Holbridge haven't started, and they've had a mixed start, but it's still you expect Holbridge to be up there at the end of the season. So that would be a good test to see their character and how they bounce back. So, but I think. Cup defeat is bad, but I think they will learn a lot from it. And obviously they got quite decent prize money from their run, so it's not all bad, is it? So
definitely. The other FA Cup game involving 2 FA Cup games actually involving teams from our region. Brightling Sea Region 2, Sawbridgeworth Town 0. Sounds like a plucky Sawbridgeworth put up a good fight there against Brett's side. So fair play to them for that, Pete.
Yeah, well, I saw Brightling Sea at Whitton on Bank Holiday Monday, and they are a well-drilled side. Brett's got them well-drilled, and they've obviously got a lot of experience as well. So they'll be, and I'm expecting them to be right up there in the Isthmian North Promotion Challenge after obviously coming down from the Premier last season. And they've started well. And there was they obviously had to work hard to get past a very stubborn Sawbridgeworth downside. That's good. I mean, good effort from Sawbridgeworth to do what they did. But ultimately, it's about winning a cup tie. Is about winning the game. So they've got through, which is the main thing for Brighton FC. But Brett's got a good side there. I think they'll do all right this season. So.
Yep. Two more results. I should have said three. FC Romania 0, Needham Market 3. Needham Market 2 levels above. They're a good established Step 3 side. So maybe you probably better side, bigger side on the day. Fair play for Romania to get in as far as they did, though. And the other results was Holbridge 0, Kettering 1. And Justin Gardner's side, it sounds like put a very, very, very good effort up against a side that was in the National League North last season.
Yeah, that's a big tie, that one, isn't it? Or a big draw, isn't it, Kettering against Holbridge. And you like the sort of the team that Kettering are, you thought they might get a couple more goals. So, Justin and the boys done well in that one, definitely.
Yeah. Sorry to add quick. I saw a tweet from a Kettering fan last week, and they said they were very lucky to get through. Their keeper had a really good game, so it could have been much different. So Holbridge put up a really good show against a very good side there. So that should give them confidence in the league going forward, and obviously that Woodford going tomorrow. So be interested to see what happens. But, yeah.
Big club, Kettering. I remember when Southampton played him a few years ago in the fourth qualifying round.
Qualifying round. Southampton were one game away from first round proper. How time to change. Kettering were playing at Neame Park back then, Russian and Diamonds old ground. So it was quite a. I didn't get involved in the club till a year after, so I didn't actually get the chance to go. But at 1-1, and I remember that game 1-1. Manor had a chance; they went clean through and missed, and they end up losing 3-1 in the end. But Kettering. I mean, Kettering are a massive, they're a big club, and they're another club that's been sort of on the decline as well. So
definitely. What we'll start, instead of going straight into the Essex Senior League, we'll mention our two other clubs in the Spartan League region. Well done to Cockfosters. They got a good draw at Biggleswade United, who are the league leaders in that division so far, 3-3. So sounded like a very, very interesting game. And I'm really delighted for Paul and John. Stansted won 4-2 at Baldock. And that was really important because, their record before that was out of 4 games was drawn 1, lost 3. So that again, they found the switch over a bit difficult to start with, but obviously that win will give them massive confidence, Pete, going to Tring on Saturday.
Getting your first win of the season in the league is very very important. Yeah, because they'd not had the best of starts, had they? Lost 3 of the first 4. So that's a good result, and a big fillip for the club, because I mean that's the Spartan League's a tough league, isn't it? So they're still finding their way. Obviously, it's a completely new thing for Stansted and for Sawbridgeworth, in that division. So they'll get there. Paul and John and Co will get them going.
Definitely,
I'm sure they'll be climbing that table soon.
Yeah. Obviously, I'll just quickly go through those the regional fixtures this weekend. It's you've got this weekend. You have Baldock. Baldock. You've got Cockfosters versus Colney Heath. That's going to be an interesting one, with Colney Heath starting fairly good as well. Now, this is going to be an interesting game. FC Romania are at home to Biggleswade United, the leaders. Two of the that's already got a huge barometer on it, but definitely, Rail Bedford versus Sawbridgeworth, so that'll be a tough one for Sawbridgeworth. Stansted versus Tring, as I said.
Tring are mid-table, so that's a winnable game. Yeah, Romania are only in 6th because they only played 4 games. Because otherwise, they'd be right up with Biggleswade and Tillemon and Rail Bedford and that lot. So. Cockfosters against
Colney Heath, as I said. And in the week, in midweek games, you've got Cockfosters at home to Shefford Town and Campton.
Yeah.
FC Romania away to Colney Heath. Sawbridgeworth host the London Lions. Hopefully that'll be a roaring game. And Stansted,
not the basketball team.
Yeah. Oh, I must mention that. Yeah, and Stansted hosts St Panteleimon. So yeah,
that'll be a hard one because St Panteleimon, they've started they played. They're second in the table. So.
Yeah, they've done really well.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go over to the Essex Senior League then. And we'll start with the games on Saturday. Now, this is an interesting one. Great Wakering 2, Saffron Walden 0. Pete, Great Wakering needed that badly, but at the same time as well, it was proved to be Terry Spillane's last game in charge of Saffron Walden.
It did.
So, but we'll talk about Wakering first. They desperately needed that win, didn't they? They needed something to get them going.
Yeah, the fact is, Wakering, the thing is, they've not been playing badly. They just hadn't been getting the results. And, that first game against Sporting that I saw, they could have easily been 2 or 3 goals up for Sporting, got a goal back. So they just missed. They've got the players. They create the chances. They just weren't taking them. But now, they got that good win against Walden. I mean, Walden are really. I mean, obviously, we know what happened after. But Wakering are now in 6th spot, and they're not in a bad position. It's not been a bad start really. And there's only 7 games gone, so there's plenty of time to, rein the leaders in, who are obviously a bit hurt. But yeah, that was a good result for Wakering. I know I said prior to the season I thought they might be one of the relegation teams that might not do so well this season, but I'd like to be proved wrong because obviously they're a very local club to me. So. Only 4 miles down the road, and I've got no problems with Wakering. They're in a good position now to start challenging the top few.
Yeah, they've actually moved up to 6th. So yeah,
they're in a decent position. It's not been the worst start. I mean, there's lots of teams that have started worse than they have. So they'll be pleased. But I know they'll really please that result.
Yeah,
sorry,
definitely.
Ashley.
Yeah, so I was saying they've only lost 2, haven't they, so far? According to the league. So, yeah, I'd say it's a decent start, that one.
Definitely. And obviously, on the flip side, Terry Spillane obviously has left Saffron Walden. Jason Mayer has returned. So Terry, who replaced Jason Mayer, has been replaced by Jason Mayer, who now replaces Terry.
Yeah.
Work it out, yeah. But yeah.
The wonders of the Essex Senior League and the non-league football, eh? Well, that doesn't just happen in non-league football. We know that. But.
I mean, Pete, obviously, I know you know Jason quite well, and obviously, Walden have had a difficult start. They played 6, lost 4, won 2.
Yeah.
We know that club wants promotion. We know they're big enough for promotion. They missed out under Jason 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Could this be the start of Walden getting back towards the top? Because they had a bit of a indifferent season last year, didn't they? Last
season was not a Walden season, no. I mean, the 2 years ago was the best chance for them to get promotion, and they just didn't turn up at Whittam on the day and got well beaten in the end. It's a shame.
Yeah.
But last season was a bit of a nothing season for them, and I don't think Jason was happy the way it ended for him at that point. So, but Mr. Blaney going in this year, and we were saying before the season, that would really kick Walden on. But it just hasn't happened, has it?
No.
Lost 4 out of 6 in the league and a -2. They've got the joint worst goal difference in the division, which is that's crazy. And ironically, Coggeshall Town being the team Jason was at last year, I think. He went to Coggeshall for a bit, didn't he? He's come back now, and I think it's a great appointment because Jason knows the club inside out. He was there for years as a manager, and before that as coach. He truly loves the club. It's in his heart, and I think that he might feel he's got unfinished business there. So it'll be. I think it's a good match, and everyone's really happy to have him back because obviously he was part of the furniture. So it might galvanise them. Hopefully, it does for their sake, because they do need to start winning games.
Yeah,
it's not been the best start for them. So
I mean, people might look at it and say, "Oh yeah, see what he can do this year. Maybe go for it properly next year." But we know Jason, and to be fair, I would actually agree with his mentality if this is the case, that it's only September. You've got plenty of time to rectify it. You've got plenty of time to get into that top 5. He is the top 5 now, because obviously with the playoffs.
This is the issue of football these days. Is everyone wants something instantly. You know, you can't build things anymore. Right? Sometimes you need 2, 3, 4, 5 years to build a plan, not immediately. You know, and it's like people need time to get.
I know.
You can't. I never understand why it has to be done right now. You know.
Yeah.
Because there's too much pressure involved, and sometimes that pressure is too much, and if things don't work out. So
that's what annoyed me with Portsmouth fans with the Cowleys, and it kind of annoys me as well. With Bassino.
All the time. Yeah, it's just people want things, instantly, and it's often not realistic. It won't happen straight away. Things don't happen overnight. You have to bed things in and get things going, and build a side that will then are capable of doing something. The fact that these pitchers don't give enough time, managers getting sacked after 8 or 9 months or even less, it's ridiculous. How can you achieve anything in that time? You can't. It's impossible. So
definitely.
Football is now, unfortunately. You just don't get the time anymore, do you? So
exactly.
Hopefully he gets the time to do what he needs to do.
Yeah. The headline game of the day, I think, Ashley, was at a ground that you know very well, Maysbrook Park, also known as the Lawtech Stadium this season. Where's Romford 3, Sporting Bengal 3. That was first versus fourth. 2 sides that have started very, very well this season, and the result showed it.
Yeah, absolutely. They've according to the league table here, they've only lost 1 between them. So, a draw at the end of the day, I guess, was maybe a bit predictable for that one. Sounded like an exciting game. Wasn't there a last-minute goal in that one, or last 5-minute goal? I can't remember.
I think there might have been, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's, I think they've both made good starts up there. And, that must have been a good one, that one.
Pete, your thoughts?
I was just looking the stats up. There was no last minute goal. I'm just checking that. Yeah, no, it was an eventful game. I mean, the thing is, most of Sporting's games this season have been very eventful. The 2 I've seen definitely have been as well. It just sounded like a typical senior league game. It was just action both ends. It basically, I mean, Michael Turner gave Romford an 8th minute lead. Steve Carvell equalised 19 minutes. And then Hassan Alban, another great player, put them back in front, put Romford ahead 23 minutes. But then Sherman Artmaladze, again, with another goal this season, equalised on 35 minutes, 2 all at half-time. And then Sporting actually went in front straight from start of the second half. Salim Mia, who I think might have scored at Ilford. He's a central defender, I think. So he got another goal. But then Nalban got another goal just past the hour mark when it was 3-3. So it sounded like a topsy-turvy contest. And a great advert for the league, I would have said. Both teams just started. I mean, obviously Sporting have surprised a few since they've come back into the senior league. Romford are always expected to be up there, but it sounded like a very, very good game of football, and but neither side could get a winner, so point each. But.
Yeah. Buckhurst Hill got their first win, beating Ilford by 3-1 at Roding Lane or Myrat Park. So that was important. That was really, really important, that one, wasn't it, Pete, for Hill?
Massive, because Hill had lost. They'd won in 5 league games, and they were playing a team who were right down there with them with the same number of points. So huge win for the hosts. because they needed that big time. It's been a bit of a struggle for Mark and the boys lately. So, apart from that win in the Vars at Romania, which is still one of the results of the season so far for me. But yeah, the league form's not been great, but yeah, that wins. That's a massive win for them. So they'll be really pleased with that.
Yeah, they will be. That was unbelievable. That result against Romania.
That win at Romania is unbelievable. I mean, Buckers have struggled all season, and they went to Romania, like won pretty much all their games, and they beat them 3-0 away. Crazy result, but yeah, that's football, isn't it? It happens sometimes.
Yeah. And the other team that started quite well, very well actually, West Essex beat Halstead by 3-1. Ash, I know you've watched West Essex, I think, once or twice this year, and maintained their unbeaten start. And I think there was a few people that said it'll be interesting to see how they cope after Kwame left after all those years. But with George, the continuity, they've started like a house on fire.
Yeah, they're coping really well, aren't they? I mean, as you say, I've seen them a couple of times. They look really, really good. Really strong side, good in attack, solid in defence. They haven't lost any league games this season. They've won 4, drawn 3, plus 11 goal difference. They're just playing really well out there. So, yeah, brilliant for them.
George done a great job. That's because Kwame built a really good side up there, and you think, well, what's going to happen now that he's left? There's like a new era.
Yeah.
If anything, they're doing even better this season than they would normally. I mean, to be third in the division like this after 7 games and not have lost, and to have the second best goal difference in the division, that's a terrific start for them. It really is.
It really is fantastic for them. And in midweek, let's just quickly go in midweek. Saffron Walden 0, Tilbury 2 in the Essex Senior Cup. Tuesday night as well in the league, FC Clacton beat Stanway 5-2. Stanway surprised me a little bit because I've heard through the grapevine that that they have invested quite a bit this year. That might be true, that might not be true, but I've heard that they've invested, and to see them second bottom is a bit of a surprise.
Well, they lost 4 out of 5.
If that's the case,
they've lost 4 games out of 5 in the league, only got a point. So it's still early days, as we've already said, but that was a good result. That was an important result for Clacton as well, because they hadn't the best of starts either. So to win 5-2, that's going to give them a lot of confidence.
Definitely. And last night at Mile End, it was Sporting Bengal 1, West Essex 1. 2 teams that have started, as we said, brilliantly. I'm surprised that it wasn't as frantic as other games. I thought it might have been a really, really, really proper game, but from what I understand, it wasn't a great game. I think maybe the amount of games that both have played so far. If because the game originally got called because of FA Cup replays, if it was played at the start, I think it would have been an unbelievable game. But point for each, I think both sides will take that. So fair play for both of them for that. Just quick look at the Essex Senior League table then, and I'm going to, if I can, share the screen hopefully, and I'm gonna for our viewers on the lovely YouTube. So this is
watching me drink out of the bottle.
Yes, this is the Essex Senior League table tonight. So, guys, what do you think of that?
Go on, Ash.
Yeah, I think brilliant for Romford, isn't it? Being top of the league. There's a couple of clubs down there. I think there's only played 5 in the bottom half, so they could be playing catch up. But like you say, normally when you're looking for Stanway Rovers, you're looking in the top half, aren't you? It's really strange to see them down there. Also, Ilford as well haven't had a good start. But yeah, I mean, Takeley's up there. They played well at the end of last season, didn't they? They was well up there. So it's all to play for there. It's in the top 8. Several teams like Barking and that, and Holbridge and Tilbury and Saffron also that can challenge.
I mean, there's 4 points separating Buckhurst still in 16th and Takeley in 5th.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, it's crazy tight, isn't it? And it's only early days, but I mean, yeah. I mean, West Essex and Sporting Bengal, they're probably people that are surprised at their starts. I mean, I would say that, Takeley, I think Takeley have actually done pretty well so far, considering the changes they've had to endure as well. So I think they should be applauded. But
yeah, I'll tell you another team, Pete, I think should be applauded. Halstead, because that defeat at West Essex, if you look at it, was actually their first defeat of the season. They finished fourth from bottom last year, so that was a good result for West Essex. Things have start a very steady side. They've had a really steady, solid start.
Well, Halstead only lost one game, so that was the first defeat for Halstead. So
yeah,
they're unbeaten the first 5 games of the season. So that's a good result. That was a really good result for West Essex. And to be only one of 3 teams unbeaten now, that's really good for them. So, but yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's like we were talking about Saffron Walden, and how they haven't started the season well. They could win one game and shoot up to 5th. So it's like, this is the margins we're talking about. There isn't much in it. I mean, Tilbury, we thought Tilbury and Holbridge and Barking, and they're in 12th, 13th, and 14th position at the moment. But it's a couple of
then when you look at
a couple of wins over in the top 6, so it's nothing. There's no,
yeah. And when you look
Saffron Walden would have to win by a 12-goal margin, Pete, but you never rule anything out in the Senior League, can you?
Well, all right, I know, yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ash, what are you going to say?
No, I was just about to say, if you look at the gap between the 4th place and the 1st place, I mean, that's 5 points. Well, isn't it? Yeah. So you got a similar gap, but only 4 teams there. And you look at the goal difference column as well, the top 3. They're obviously knocking the goals in those 3.
Yeah, you're starting to see the teams that are really on it at the moment, and the teams that are not quite at the moment in the league table. But that could change this month. It could change. Suddenly, everyone will be bunched up again. So it should be an interesting division. This one,
yeah, definitely.
We did say it before the start of the season, but then obviously the teams down the bottom, there were some teams down there that we thought might struggle, and unfortunately, not Stanway. They might do all right, but Brentford are still finding their feet at this level. Ilford, or they might have a bit of a problem. And Coggleshaw, obviously, I think they got quite a young team, so they're going to find it difficult as well. So.
Definitely. Okay, well, let's go on to the Thurlow South, and we're going to have a discussion about this league more a bit later. But wow, some interesting results in that division. Now. We're going to start with the result. What was actually voted by our listeners and viewers as results of the weekend. I wouldn't have picked it personally. I would have picked another result, but it was Tower Hamlets 4, Southend Manor 1 at the Mile End Stadium. Southend Manor brought down to earth. It would have been a few years ago a GFS derby. Hamlets needed that. It's interesting as well. I don't want to spoil anything, but the bottom 3 are 1 in this league this weekend.
Yeah. I know. That kind of sums it up in a nutshell, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, but Hamlets beating Southend Manor, that is a great result for Hamlets. And Manor and Gary Monty, just a reminder to him how tough this league is, Pete.
Well, yeah, it is, but things are. Manor have had all that kerfuffle and stuff about going off and their pitch not being ready and all this, and it does affect you. It does affect you as a team because you want to play at home, and I think they've only had 1 home game or something, haven't they? Whatever. And it's going to affect them. And they started the season well, so it sort of covered up a little bit. But that result, that was an awful result of the weekend because Hamlets had lost 5 out of 5 going into that one. So. It's just I don't. Yeah, that was a pretty damaging defeat. Or it probably isn't, but it's a massive wake up because you think you go into a team who lost every game. You think, oh, we're going to win this one. We should win this. And they're losing 4-1. They didn't just lose. They got thumped in the end. So
I saw them against Parkview Tower Hamlets, and just to be fair, Parkview should have been 5-6 up within half hour. I'm being honest, they should have been.
Man, I mean, no disrespect to Hamlets, I know the your ex-club had, but man, must have had a huge off day. So they've lost 4-1 there. But at the same time, I'm really pleased for Hamlets because, that's going to give them a massive boost because you lost 5 out of 5. You're thinking, here we go, this is not going well. Although the goal difference wasn't terrible, so they obviously weren't getting smashed in every game because there was only a -9 goal difference and 5 defeats. So they were losing by the odd goal probably, which isn't the worst, but it's still when you're coming out on the wrong side of games time after time, it just demoralises you. But that's going to be a huge lift for them. So
big that and that, being at the bottom on 0 points,
exactly.
winning by 4 goals is
Definitely. I'm going to go to what I would have picked as my results of the day, and that was Clapton against Burnham.
Yeah.
No, Clapton. It was Clapton Community and Northwest London. I picked actually. Clapton Community 2, Northwest London 5. At the old Spotted Dog, which was an intriguing game because they know each other very well, being old sparring partners for the Middlesex County. But Northwest London securing their first win of the season in emphatic fashion at the Dog against the Clapton Community side who are in form. So again, Northwest London, another bottom 3 side who went and won. So fantastic result for them.
That it's similar, isn't it, to Hamlets, isn't it? Really, where Northwest London only had a point, and in the early days in the relegation zone, and again cracking the goals in. But Clapton community games do seem to have a lot of goals in them if you look back. So you
was at the Man Baker game, weren't you, when it was 5-3?
Yeah, I was at the Man Baker 5-3 and the Dunmow one, which was 2-0 to Dunmow. But yeah, it's Clapton do like attacking from the games I've seen them. They really go for it. Maybe it leaves them short at the back sometimes. But yeah, lots of goals in their games so far.
Yeah, definitely. Fair play to Northwest London for that result. Clapton, they won by 2, or the official Clapton, they won 2-1 against Burnham Ramblers at the Terence McMillan Stadium. Bash has gone back in there, isn't he?
Yeah, and this would have been my pick for result of the weekend.
Yeah, brilliant. I know Burnham lost a couple, but yeah.
But Clapton have been getting beaten big time in some of these games. They were getting smashed in some games. It was worrying.
-14 goal difference as well.
So I was thinking because they'd lost 4 out of 5 and they were getting heavily beaten in games, and I feared for them. So when I saw them beat Burnham, I really thought, wow, that's a result. That's a huge result for Clapton. Massive result. I mean, I've also with Tower Hamlets because they go and win a game, and Northwest London and Clapton go and win games you don't expect them to win. So,
I know.
That just doesn't happen though. You finally get your points and think, we're going to be third bottom. Because the other 2-1. It's,
you can imagine them, Pete, looking at the results at the end of the day, going in and thinking, we've got the 3 points.
Come off it. It can't be right, surely. Yeah, I know, I can imagine that out of there.
Yeah. But fair play to Clapton. I mean, Bash has gone back in there. And before he left to take I think it was a job down at Crawley or Leatherhead, it was very, very stable appointment when he went in there before. So hopefully it'll be a stable appointment again this time for them. Yeah.
Well, that's a very good start, isn't it, for him? So
yeah.
I mean, that Burnham will be up there challenging for playoffs. So that's a. I thought that was the result of the weekend, personally. But
well done as well. The other results that was on the poll: Barkingside 3, Basildon Town 1. Barkingside needed that because after we beat Man Baker on the opening weekend, it's gone a bit south for them. But
they hadn't won after that until this game days. They went 6 games without winning. So, but no, that was a very good result. Basildon Town obviously they haven't had the start they wanted, Basildon, but they're still a really good side. And I'm pleased for James because he was probably getting a bit worried about. Well, the thing with Barkingside, Jimmy will give James time. And I go on about how managers aren't given time. Jimmy will give him time. So, so James has got, and that's a good. He'll be chuffed that they picked up another win against a good side as well. So
yeah, definitely. And Ash, I'm going to bring you in on this one. Brimsdown 3, May and Baker 0. Brimsdown up to 5th, and we said on the first show of the season, we've said in previous shows as well that that Brimsdown could be a bit of a dark horse and they could have a very successful season. And yet again, they're showing why they're up. They're up to 5th in the table. Goal difference. The goal difference is only been bettered by the leaders Hutton as well. So they have had a very, very strong start. Junior Matty's doing a great job down there.
Yeah, it sounds like a good story, that one. It's like you say, plus 10 goal difference. What's that? 1-4, drew 1, lost 3 so far. I think that's a cracking start for them, really. And hopefully they can keep that going. Definitely.
Pete.
Well, yeah. It seems like when you get promotion from a division below, sometimes you can carry the momentum through to the next season. I mean, Hutton are doing the same thing as well. They obviously won the Olympian, and now look at the start they've made in this division. Brimsdown are doing the same thing. I think Rob Parker, Alliance League, mentioned that Brimsdown might do well this year because they are a very good side, and obviously they're now proving that in senior football. So
true.
And considering what the state they were in when they went out of the division a couple of years ago, but it's good to see them back and actually doing very well now.
Do you see them lose like 9-4 or 9-6 or something?
I saw them lose 8-4 at Benfleet. It was the most ridiculous game I've ever seen. One of the most ridiculous games I've seen. I've seen a 5-5 as well. That was mad. But no, they're defensively. I mean, they tightened up a bit because they changed the whole team eventually because they had to do something. But first two games of that season, I mean, they're defensively it was unbelievable what I was watching. But that was a mad game.
Okay. Elsewhere in the Senior South, it was Enfield Borough 1, Benfleet 1 again. Two teams that have had steady, solid starts. Hackney Wick 1, Wormley Rovers 3. That was a very important win for Wormley. That propels them from the bottom half comfortably.
And Wadey's back there, isn't he?
Yes, he's gone back there.
That will be a lift for him. Put it that way.
I think from what I've seen from Wick, Bobby's been. I think from what I can gather by Bobby's posts, because I'm friends with him on Facebook and that, and he posts about games and stuff. I think they've been very much in games. They've got a very good quality midfield. They're struggling to concede goals at the other end. They're creating chances, but they're just not finishing them. And they're in a lot of games. Yeah. They just can't seem to get over the line.
But then that might change in the, they might have a month or two where everything goes in. So it's all swings and roundabouts. I still don't think playing at Whittam is helping them.
No, definitely not.
Having an 80-mile round trip for a home game can't be easy. But the fact that they're prepared to do that and the players are committed to doing it is a testament to them. So, but they could easily. I mean, again, if they win a couple of games, they're in mid-table. So it's not true. It's not the end of the world. We're still early in the season, so
definitely. Newbury Forest, a club that have done really well to start with, and they have actually looking at their like Brimsdown, Ashley, with their 1-4, drawn 1, lost 3. Lost 5-1 at home to St Margaret's-Bury there, which is their second win of the season. So again, another basically the bottom 4 really. Absolutely incredible results at the weekend. So it just shows how crazy this league is.
It's turned the table upside down, isn't it?
Bottom 4 or 1 was mad, isn't it?
Yeah,
and 2 of them netted 5, or 2 netted 5, and 1 netted 4. I mean, it's like you couldn't make it up, could you?
Yeah.
Oh, It's just why you can't predict these sort of divisions, because it's just anything can happen.
Yeah.
It only takes a couple of players not to be able to play, or they've got some injuries, and then you get these really weird results. So
I think you're on the head, Pete. There, I think that's the thing. Sometimes that's what makes it so variable, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, your star striker don't turn up one day, and then you're flat, aren't you?
The thing is, yeah, exactly. Or they get a player in for a game or two, and he goes on a great and scores loads and makes a massive difference to the side. You don't see that when you see the result. You don't. If you looked at the teams, some teams would be completely different from one week to the next because of availability at this level. That's what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and the other result in the division: Parkview 0, Harlow Town 4. So fair play to Harlow.
I've got a stat on Harlow because I looked it up while we were talking. They lost 5-1 on the opening day to Hutton. Yeah. Since then, they've played 7. I think it's 7. They played in the remaining all their competitive games this season. They've only conceded 3 goals.
Amazing.
They conceded 5 on the opening day, and they've only conceded 3 since.
Did you get that from our super stato Scott, or did you?
I know. I looked it up on full time while we were talking. So I can multitask. I can do everything.
Who says men can't multitask?
Well, exactly. Yeah. But this is. I said at the time that's the best thing that happened to Harlow, losing that game 5-1. But since then, they've not lost a game, and they beat Newbury Forest 4-0 in the Vars as well. So it's
true.
They're scoring goals for fun, and they're not conceding any. So. It's a good bounce back from that opening day.
Definitely. Okay, and there's a couple of other midweek results on Tuesday night in the league. It was North West London 2, Enfield Borough 2 in a bit of a North London derby. And on Wednesday in the League Cup, Hutton beat Southend Manor 3-1. And in the league, impressive result for Dunmow. They're pulling results out, Ashley, beating Cannons Wood by 2-1.
Yeah, they looked a good side when I watched them. They played Clapton 1-2-0. Very strong all round. I think very strong at the back, patient, built play up, and they got a couple of goals there and won that one. So they're going to be a tough team to beat. I think, although they've lost 2 so far, but I think they're going to be a tough team to play.
Definitely. I think there will be, and obviously there was one game that you was at on on Wednesday actually, and it was Benfleet versus Burnham, and that game finished 1-1. So let's have a look at the goals from that one. We're following commentary by Mr. Peter Dudley. Okay, what's going on here? Bear with us a second. Yes. Yeah. Right, okay. Let's do that again. Right. Let's start that now. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and here we go.
So this is a corner to.
Start again.
This is a Burnham corner. Swung into the box and a lovely header at goal. I've already seen this goal. I must have already watched it. But yeah, and a good header. Really good header. It was a really weird header actually, because it's sort of in slow motion. Went into the corner. Everyone just sort of looked at it. But that's the lead for Burnham at Benfleet. But Benfleet battled back obviously. Good run through midfield. Loses the ball. But one back, brilliant. That's good win. Good winning the ball back in midfield. Good determination. The ball's passed out to the right, swung in with the left foot, headed clear. But Benfleet recycled the ball eventually. Long ball into the box. Keeper makes an absolute howler at trying. It was a simple ball into the box. The keeper should have claimed, but it slipped out his grasp.
We weren't offside.
And he weren't offside, according to someone who just said it in the video.
That was the lino.
Oh, was that
was the lino show?
And that was not the best. Best, keeping. The keeper should have claimed that, obviously, and didn't. Slipped out of his grasp, and I'm just trying to find out who. Billy Carter. That was in the 23rd minute. So both goals came in the First part of the game. Billy Carter was first to react to put the ball home, and eventually ended the game with 10 men because Sonny Hartman was sent off with 4 minutes to go. But we did touch on this earlier off air, I know. But,
yes, let's have a look at this because thanks to Ashley, we've got some extra footage from this. So for our YouTube viewers, Pete will describe the action. Here we go.
Right, so ball's played forward. So let's see what happens. Sonny Hartman tries to tackle and he looks like he takes out the Burnham player and it's washes back again. I mean, again, the referee gets one look at this.
Yeah.
It looks like, for me, it looks like he gets the ball.
But I can also see why he's given a foul and sent him off because he gets one look at that and he's from his angle, because you've got to remember the ref's at a different angle to what we're watching it might look like he's taking him out.
Yeah.
But from our angle, it looks like he plays the ball. But the game's all about angles, and depending on what angle you're at, you might see a different thing. So, it looks like he does probably get the ball. The problem is he might have taken the player as well, and you know what this football's like in this day and age. If you get the player, it doesn't matter if you get some of the ball. The refs are all likely going to give a foul, aren't they? So
cool.
So I can see why he's given a foul, and obviously he's got to send him off because he's last man. So but at another angle, it looks like he might get the ball. So.
Yes, referee Mr. Dorling giving out the red card to Sonny Hartman there. So, yes.
Ashley, were you going to say something, Ash? Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, it did, from the angle I was at, it looked like he did get the ball, and then the momentum of the player running forward got taken out by his legs. So it's one of those ones, I think, maybe 10 years ago, it would have been a good tackle, but nowadays, the refs make that decision. There was quite a reaction as well around
exactly
Burnham players as well, and sometimes that can affect your decision as well.
He's got to make a split-second decision, and from his angle, he's probably think he hasn't got that. It's a foul, and obviously all the appeals around and from the crowds because there have been a few from Burnham there. It might affect the decision as well. So I could see why he's given it. It's not. I mean, it's not like it's a howl of a decision because from the angle he was at, he might have thought it was a foul. So people are easy to jump on the bandwagon and go, "Oh, he's got that. They should never have sent him off." But if you get one view at it, you try refereeing.
Yeah.
It'll be. You can probably see why he's given it.
Ashley, you was there. What did you make of it?
Yeah. I mean, like I say, at the time, it looked like he went in for the tackle and got the ball. But I think the momentum of the player running on and the fact that the guy making the challenge couldn't get out of the way, I think he just went over the top of him. And, it's one of those, I think, that, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it might have been a good tackle. But these days, the refs are under pressure, aren't they, with the old last man thing or goal scoring opportunity, whatever it is these days.
Especially if he's being assessed as well, because a lot of them get assessed now, and that affects.
And he was,
100%. That affects what a referee does. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah,
it does. Because if there's not an assessor there, it might be different. So.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Quickly go through a couple of the Olympian League results and Alliance results, and then we'll move on. I think the result of the day in the Olympian League Premier, I must say, was on Saturday. Catholic 0, Sungate 2. Sungate ending Catholic's 100% record at Len Forge, Pete.
It's funny because we said we did say Sungate might be dark horses this season because obviously they've moved to Friendford to play their games there, and then as we said, you don't move to senior ground if you haven't got ambition. So that was a statement result from them because Catholic had just won at Rayleigh the previous game. So that was Sungate. That was a great result. Sungate are the only unbeaten side in the division now because Rayleigh and Catholic now both lost because obviously Catholic won at Rayleigh. Now they've beaten them. So
And obviously, there's another game on Saturday that affects us as well. And Harold Wood finally got their first points of the season with a 2-2 draw against Springfield.
Hey.
Yeah.
Good result as well, actually. That was a good result. Springfield, I thought we might be surprise package this season. But they've not started the season right I thought they would. Good result for Harold Wood. That's good. That's given a bit of confidence.
Definitely.
Because the thing is, Harold Wood actually pushed Rayleigh all the way in the last game. They lost 4-3. Turney lost 4-3 at Rayleigh. So they're certainly in game. So that's good for them.
Definitely. Okay, and in the Alliance League, FC Petra Cub kept up their 100% record, 5-0 win at Priory Park Rangers. So well done to them. For the other results, go to Essex Olympian League and Essex Alliance League online. Quickly before we move on, I'm just gonna do the league table for the Thurlow South, which is an incredibly tough division to call. So for our YouTube viewers, here we. Oh no, it's doing that thing again. Oh dear, having a bit of a nightmare with the screen sharing tonight. Yeah, right, here we go. It is the Thurlow First Division South table, guys. If you can just
Well, Hutton. I mean, look at them. Just carrying on from last season. And you think that they smashed Harlow 5-1 away. That kind of we thought is that just a flash in the pan, but it obviously wasn't. You see what Harlow have done since then. I mean, that's an even more incredible result now. So Hutton are doing very well, but there's so many teams up there. It's so tightly packed. So there's only 6 points between second and 13th. So very tight division so far.
Definitely. Okay. Right. Well, we're going to take a quick song break. Then we're going to talk more about other non-league football in just a minute here on Grassroots Football Show. Ian,
Can you
are you there?
actually hear the music?
What was that?
Can you hear the music?
No. This happened a couple of weeks ago. You disappeared.
Zoom is blocking it, I think. Anyway, we'll let the listeners hear the music for now, okay?
Oh, God. Yeah.
Straight through what is known as. Joel's got Brewers through. He gets intimidated by the.
Honestly, Adam, I thought that was Ian.
What is that?
You should cut down on your fault life, mate. Get some exercise.
I don't know, just mute it for now. This part life by Blur. Do you think you? When he started to when David Allbarn started talking, I thought it was Ian.
Oh God!
I thought Ian's accent's changed. Oh, I know.
I'll be honest with you. The other week, right? Honest to God, if people were watching, listening, we asked Ian for a song break, and then. Well, Ian, he's disappeared. He's actually disappeared. And we actually it was like the shortest break in history. Yeah. Oh, God.
Good fun.
It was fun. Yeah, so while we're obviously you can obviously repeat this for the listeners later. Your football plans for the weekend, guys?
For me, I've got to get clearance in Woodford. I'm sure they'll be okay, but it'll probably be Woodford Holbridge tomorrow. And then I might go on a bit of a trophy run. Probably Redbridge and Enfield on Sunday, or Redbridge on Saturday, Enfield on Sunday.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting game. I won't be there, but that will be a very interesting occasion. I know Walthamstow are going to wear black armbands as a mark of respect. I do know that.
Yeah. So that's going to be an emotional one, that one, isn't it? It's I always thought I'd do the trophy that weekend, because obviously Bishop Stortford are at home, aren't they? So that's why.
Yeah, against Darlington. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why that's been shifted. Yeah, I'm going to do trophy, I think, this weekend.
Don't blame
It's
you.
going to be really hot as well this weekend, isn't it? It's going to continue into Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah. Pete, what about you?
Yeah, it's meant to be 26 Monday as well. I think Tuesday is when it breaks down. So, tomorrow night I might go Bowers against Galston FA Trophy because it's up. It's only 18 minutes on the train.
You're back.
Oh, we're back, are we? Welcome back to the Grassroots Football Show on East London Radio. We actually got a song there because 2 weeks ago when we asked Ian for a song break, he disappeared.
Oh, I was there playing it. It's on the recording. I was playing it. You guys couldn't hear it for some reason. Weird.
Okay.
So the mysterious movements of Ian.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, probably, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a bit like, it reminds me, like we were saying we're going to a film break. Ian, where are let's stand over to you. It was a bit like when Chris Kamara ignored Jeff Stelling that time. Yeah,
I'm always here. Always.
Yeah. Where was where's Ian? He ain't got
watching.
Scooby-Doo. Yeah. Oh dear, that's quite good actually. But yeah, we're here on GFS. We're here till 9 o'clock this evening, so we've got a bit to talk about. Pete, I just want to start with you on this next topic. Obviously, we haven't been here for a couple of weeks. You haven't had the chance to talk about it, and it could affect our level soon, actually, because if things go belly up, then this could happen next season. Southend, they have been given till the 4th of October to make sure everything's paid off and everything like that, or they will be wound up. Now, I'm going to be completely honest about this. Southend United Football Club, in my lifetime, have had more winding up orders than I've had hot dinners. I watched a YouTube video with one of their fans. Apparently, it's the 19th in 20-something years or something, or 30 years, 19th in 30 years. The ground is in a bit of a state, let's be honest. It was when I last went there as well, but with all due respect. As a Southend resident, where does Southend go from here? And could it be the fact that we could, again, have a Southend and East Thurrock playing possibly at Step 6 next year?
The problem is they won't go anywhere as long as Ron Martin's here. That's a simple fact. They need the buyer to come in. The problem is he's going on about that. In August, which is last month, Ron Martin said to sell the club to an unnamed Australia buyer should be finalised this month. So whether that happens or not, I don't know, because they're still working to clear £275,000 of debt owed to HM Revenue and Customs. So, and the fact. I'm looking at an article here. They're having a meeting. The council are having a meeting on Thursday. A motion has been put forward asking Southend-on-Sea City Council to provide whatever reasonable support is possible to assist the club's sale. So it all hangs on this sale. And if they don't, if the sale doesn't go through, there's no more club. Basically, that is the bottom line. Because on October the 4th, if they go back to court and he's not sold the club, they'll be wound up 100%. Because they should have gone already. Quite frankly, the only reason they haven't gone is because the judge said the fans and the attached to the fans, he was giving them more chance because of them, and it was a football and the fans, because obviously football's a different thing. But it basically if the sale doesn't go through in the next month, they're gone, and that unfortunately is the crux of it, and it's basically that's where we stand with it now. And they've obviously had 10 points deducted by the league, so they've gone from being top of the division to bottom of the division in about 2 weeks, which I don't think might have happened with anybody before. But they got out of mine. They got back into positive points the other day when they beat. They won 2-0. So, but I think at the moment what they're doing on the field is remarkable considering what's going on off it. So, I think Kevin Mayer deserves a statue for what he's done. Because quite frankly, I mean, even his assistants as well, Curry and Bentley. I mean, the fact that none of them, they're all still there and they're giving their all for the club, and the 16 players who are registered at the moment, you know, they all deserve a medal, as do the people behind the scenes who have gone like 3 months without pay at some point, which is disgusting. Personally. The Shrimpers Trust and that actually did raise money to pay them at one point, you know, through crowdfunding and stuff. So the fact that it's got to that point is just disgraceful, and Ron Martin needs to sell up and bugger off, basically. But that's unfortunately, if that doesn't happen, then there's not much anyone can do, really. So you could end up having a Phoenix club come in down to our level, which would be it'd be a massive shame. The club have been around over 100 years. All their history going up in smoke because of one guy.
You could have Manor versus United next season. You think about that, Manor versus United.
I know, and I just don't understand how this can be allowed to happen. How can one person bring a club down to its knees like this? We spoke about this before with ownership, haven't we? Before when they did this ownership thing or whatever it was, I can't remember exactly what it was, but
fit and proper persons,
yeah. And you just think, I mean, he's been there for a while. I mean, the club got into the Championship when he was at the helm, but even then, people didn't really see eye to eye with him. The fact that the club were doing really well on the pitch, that it kind of got forgotten. Well, not forgotten about, but sort of, you know, when you're doing well, it gets sort of brushed under the carpet a little bit, doesn't it? But the fact now they've gone out of the Football League and they're now on the brink of extinction, this is where it's. And it should never have got this far. It should never have got to this point. I just think it's very sad. And as a Southend resident, you know, to lose your football club is just it's very upsetting. So, and I know a lot of people that are diehard Southend fans, and they are very, very concerned. That's to put it mildly.
Exactly. It's such a shame, isn't it? It's just that they are a fantastic group of fans, the Shrimpers, aren't they, Pete?
I mean, I'll go back to I saw them play at Dagenham a few weeks ago. And they put weight and the atmosphere in that away end, and I was standing right in it, was unbelievable. It gives me goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah,
it's one of the best atmospheres I've ever been in, and that's saying a lot because I've been to a lot of big stadiums. But you could see the togetherness between the fans and the players, especially at the end when they all came over to applaud the fans and the fans applauded them. It put a lump in your throat because you thought they might lose this club. And you're just thinking, you just can't imagine it. They were the connection between the fans and the players and staff is unbelievable, and the fact that they could lose that because of one person, it's not right. It shouldn't be allowed. It's terrible.
And both of you, actually, I'm going to say something that the moment for me that just sums up Southend United Football Club to me.
I knew that was coming. Yeah, exactly.
It's Eastwood this time! Oh, what a goal! Freddie Eastwood has given Southend the lead with a goal that any Manchester United player would be proud to score.
Well, he's absolutely brilliant, isn't it? It really is. He didn't need a deflection. He's 30 yards out, and he has laced it.
Kevin May was
just where he wanted to put it. We know he's a goal poacher for the Eastwood, but
when Southend beat Ferguson, Rooney, Ronaldo, Southend.
Yeah, I know. They're all playing that night. No, Ronaldo was playing at Roots Hall. I know. Imagine, could you? That was what?
15 years ago.
It was 2006. Was it 2006?
Yeah, it's nearly 16 years ago.
So 16, 17 years ago. 16, 17 years ago. And Southend were in the Championship, but that was when they were in the Championship. That was their one season in it, I think. Yeah, it says it all, doesn't it? And I guarantee you, 100%, if heaven forbid they do go to the wall, that will be shown. That will be shown over and over again by Sky and all the news channels. And do you know what? All the news channels should be covering this more. They should be, because you've hardly seen anything about it. I know Sky have mentioned it briefly on whatever, but this should be massive news because this is a big club that's going to go to the wall with something like that. And the reasons behind it as well. Not enough has been publicised about it. It's only really the local area that know more about it because obviously we're in this area. But it should. I know people have. Jeff Stelling's had his say about it. I know that and all this sort of stuff. But it needs to be. It needs to be much bigger news than it is. I think because this is serious stuff now.
I mean, I do know. I have seen in the last few days that it has been mentioned on some local, well, I say local media, because as well as London and Anglia, Southend is covered by BBC South and ITV Meridian, so they have mentioned it because the transmitting in Kent's quite local, and they have mentioned it on the local news. So it is getting. I agree with you, Pete. He's getting some local media, localish media coverage. Because obviously us down here on the south coast and up to Milton Keynes knows what's going on in Southend now. But at the same time, it needs to be more nationwide. Do you know the chilling thing though, Ashley? I'm going to bring you into this point to you. The chilling thing about it is Pete just mentioned there about when Southend were in the Championship there.
Yeah.
The chilling thing though is that 16, 17 years ago, that was the year Braintree Town went up to the National League South. Dagenham won the conference. And even more chilling, Southend and Colchester were promoted from league together to the Championship. Great time for Essex football. Fast forward 17 years. Colchester, one of the favourites to drop out of League Two this year. And potentially this time in next month, you could have two famous Essex clubs in Southend and East Thurrock. Gone.
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable, isn't it? The spiral that happens and what he's saying. I just don't understand how somebody who's got an asset like that, that's got a club big fan base, a really big fan base, can sort of watch deteriorate to this sort of level, and it almost becomes unsaleable at some point because the whole thing is just. Who's going to rock up and buy it? What are they going to get out of that? And I think the only thing they're going to get is a great fan base. The ground, I think, is it owned by the owner as well? And I think they were talking about going to a new ground as well. I've been saying that for years, I think.
That's been, that's been in the pipeline for donkey's years, just not happening.
That's been before I was born, and I'm 31.
Blimey.
That's never going to happen. It's never going to happen.
It's not going to. And like you say, the 4 weeks now is going to be the most important in the club's history, whatever they've done before. That good goal, etc., etc. It's not about that anymore, is it? It's just 4 weeks now where something magical has got to happen for them. Otherwise, they slip out and they get rebuilt. I know that some fans, if they started a Southend City, I think I've seen that club sort of here in the last year or two.
Southend City is that's not. I don't think there's they play in the that's
Alliance League. Yeah, it might be an AFC Southend or AFC City of Southend or something along them lines. Southend is a big important city within our region. Did you know it was actually used to be called Whitechapel-on-Sea? The amount of East Londoners that it attracted. A big cultural link and asset in a way. We're East London Raiders, a big cultural asset to East London. You hear many people, we're going down to Southend to the beach and that. Use it all the time. Someone needs to come and sort this out because. It's a local, it's deepest, darkest Essex in a sense, but it's a local club, and a lot of people will be upset about that. And what we don't want as well is people in Southend, no disrespect, Southend United go. We don't want them going to suddenly support Man United or Man City or West Ham or Tottenham. We want them to support Southend. If someone out there is watching this or listening, it's a great club. It's a great club, great old club. A lot of great support as well around South Essex, and passionate supporters as well. Someone needs to do this, because you can't. You can't carry on like this.
The other issue is Ron Martin needs to let go completely. He does not, and I don't think he will, which is the problem. He'll still want some part of it, even though someone else, and that's not attractive to a new buyer, is it? So he's just got this hold over the club, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't know what needs to be done. Well, I do know what needs to be done, but I just hope and pray something can be done in the next 4 weeks, because time's running out fast now, and it's already serious, but this is the last chance to lose now. So
I just think as well, the sad thing about it as well, Pete, is that what you could call these poisonous owners that have cocked up, excuse my mouth, clubs in the professional levels like Bury, Orient, Portsmouth, Blackpool, Charlton, the list goes on. That domino effect, in a sense, is now going into non-league football, because we have seen what's been going on, or what's been alleged at certain clubs. Again, there's been a lot of allegations going on at Enfield this week. There's been via social media, by the way, and social media has put a load of allegations towards Alfie Best at East Thurrock as well. So obviously, we're only going by what we've read on social media. So you don't believe everything you read on social media. It's a bit like they say, don't read everything in the papers, or believe everything you read in the papers. Apart from Dear Deirdre, joking.
Dear Deirdre, oh my word.
Yeah.
How the hell did that get a mention on this show?
Yeah.
I never ever thought that was going to ever happen in my life.
Yeah. But the point I'm making is, it just seems you see a lot more clubs in non-league as well with owners going through similar situations, and it just repeats what I said on the show a few weeks ago. It all starts from the top. Everything in football starts from the top. I said to Paul Stratton and Martin on our previous show 2 weeks ago, I said, everything starts from the top. Whatever side of football it is, financial, players' attitudes, players' actions, it all starts from the Premier League and that downwards. And all those attitudes, including the way clubs are being ruined, is coming down into non-league football. And something needs to change. It shouldn't be allowed. Pete's right. They shouldn't be allowed to happen. Shouldn't be. It's ridiculous.
Then what do you do? This motion or whatever it was trying to brought in last year about ownership of clubs, because the Premier League didn't want anything to do with it, did they? So obviously, but something needs to. I don't know. They need to put things in place to stop these people coming in, buying football clubs, and then using it as a business asset for other companies. Yeah. Because that's what's happening effectively. It's not the only company he owns.
Yeah,
he's got other things that he's got. Well, as I say, he's got his fingers in a lot of pies, basically. And and the problem is, people, they buy a football club and then they'll just run it like they'll just one of their assets, one of their businesses, but they've got no care for it. And you know, when things get tough, then the amount of tax bills is suddenly found £2 million to pay, or whatever it is. You know, it's happened so many times, as that guy said. You know, they've been not wound up. They've been in court so many times. It's laughable. It really is. So I mean, it's happened, as you said, it's happened to other clubs, you know. And the people who suffer are the fans at the end of the day, the fans and the staff and the players, because they're the ones who are out of a job or out of a football team. And they've got families to feed. They've got bills to pay at the end of the day. So, you know, it's not, he's playing with people's lives. And that's not right. It really is.
But it's not. Ashley, I've never really asked this. What team have you got? Have you got a team that you're affiliated? I know you was with Barking, but have you got a team that you support?
I guess in non-league terms, there's quite a few. I float around a lot of clubs, as you know, doing filming. I'm more
professional. For like professional level.
But I think probably at a professional level is more like somebody like West Ham. Yeah, that's probably,
see, they're another club that's obviously had issues, should we say, with their owners.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there is a split, isn't there, between the ownership of a club and a supporter of a club. There's a big difference between the two, and sometimes it just doesn't work. And like, for instance, a purchaser of a club could sell that club and go to another club, but you'll find supporters will not be able to lose their club and easily go to another club and support that other club. So I think, as Pete said earlier, that whole thing about the supporters, the volunteers, the players at the time and the management team at the time, they're putting everything into that club. The owners have got to be with it, otherwise you get this split.
The issue is as well is obviously these owners, obviously once they get in people's bad books, it's very difficult to stop the slide, if you know what I mean. West Ham's a classic example. West Ham have they've won a European trophy. They've had 2 amazing seasons, a 3rd consecutive season in Europe, and Moyes has done a brilliant job down there. But with the ownership, that even after winning European trophy, the owners are still the fans are still not happy with the owners. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how successful you are. If you as an owner get in the fans' bad books, it's very hard to get back out of them again, no matter how successful you are. And West Ham just proves that. Yeah,
once mistakes are made, they're never forgotten, are they? If you're running a club. And, everybody's always pushing for that success, though, aren't they? Only one team can win that Premier League, but, there's 6 or 7 up there that think they can challenge. And at the end of the day, money really talks, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Pete's would have seen it himself. Obviously, Sunderland's, before they got back into the Championship, was a complete and utter merry-go-round for about 6-7 years. And I know they've done a lot for the club, but correct me if I'm wrong, Pete. It does seem to me that a lot of Norwich fans are starting to get tired of Delia and that now, and it seems that they wouldn't mind a bit of change.
The problem is fans just want to see some ambition. They want to see their club wanting to be the best they can. And the problem at Norwich is that they've just been going up and down. But the board and the club have been coming out saying, they've been coming out and saying things like, we just want to be a top 26 club. And I'm like, what even is that? Because that's not ambitious. That's just because the other thing I don't agree with is clubs getting these parachute payments. It doesn't really. The club will think, we got relegated, but we got all this money for the next 3 years because we've been in the Premier League. So it was financially viable for Norwich to just go up and down, not be ambitious and stay in the Premier League, but get these payments so it makes the club more financially viable.
Yeah.
And from a business point of view, it makes sense. But I don't understand why they continue to get these payments 3 years after they got relegated. Because it's like, what? That's not really deterrent, is it? It's like, if we get relegated, we're down. And there was no ambition. And I think that's what the fans were most upset about, because they're like, well, surely you want to stay in the Premier League and establish yourself. And they're going, well, as long as you're a top 26 club and we get these payments, we'll be all right. I'm like, well, that's not what the fans want to hear, is it? It's nice. It's nice to have a financially viable club. Don't get me wrong, because there are a lot that aren't. But it's fans want to see their team as high as they possibly can, and they want ambitious clubs. And I just don't think the Norwich fans are seeing that with the board. And I think that's probably the most annoying thing they are. That's what they're most annoyed about, anyway. So.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, what you're saying about these parachute payments and how it affects obviously finances and wages from the business side of things. I saw a chart the other day, right, about obviously the wage bills in the Championship. Plymouth, bottom of the wage budget table with only a £2 million budget. The top four. Leicester, 70 million. Southampton, 62 million.
Yeah.
Them down the road, 62 million. And Leeds, 56 million. Well, I can understand with them down the road. They love heavy numbers, don't they? 5-0, 9-0, but yeah. But anyway, but yeah, so Leicester, 70 million. Them down the road, 62 million. Leeds, 54 million or something like that. Fourth place, Watford.
Sure.
19 million.
Yeah. Now, do you see my point?
This is what you're dealing with.
The top three all got relegated from the Premier League. So they're going to have all this money. So it's not a level playing field. Unfortunately, football isn't a level playing field. The teams with all the money are the ones that. Watford's a joke anyway because they sacked their manager every 5
Oh God!
So,
but the point I'm making is,
I know exactly. There's a vast gap, isn't there?
£35 million between the third biggest wage budget and the fourth biggest wage budget in the Championship.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
that's what you get those yo-yo clubs, don't you? Like West Brom will go up and come down and then come back again. And this
is my point earlier about Norwich going up and down and getting these payments and getting these. The same thing's happening. I mean, Leicester, Southampton, and Leeds will have parachute payments the next 3 years. They go up or down. So they're always going to have a bigger budget because they've got more money. So they're going to be able to take better players. And I mean, some will say, but they got into the Premier League, they should be rewarded. Fine, I get that. But why get rewarded 3 years after you're not in it if you don't go back in? 1 year, maybe I can understand that, but 3, I don't get it.
Yeah,
it's a bit skewed. It doesn't seem fair to the others who haven't got a level playing field, obviously.
To be fair, if you want to gain Premier League money and go about it the right way, you be modest about it. Look at Luton. I watched Friday Night Football last week. Gary Sweet, the Luton chief executive, was talking to Neville and Carragher before the game. Obviously, I'm not going to quote him, but if you roughly translate what he meant, he basically said, "Look, we've come up. We're going to make a fist of it. If we go, we go. But the money that we're going to get from the Premier League is going to be built towards the new stadium. We're here. We can now push forward with the money for the stadium. And if we get anything next year with the parachute payments, that will help and build up and see the club secure. So Luton are going about it the right way. They know if they do go down, that's fine with them. They can use that to progress the club forward and maybe come back in a few years and make a real fist of it, which I like their attitude of that, really. Pete, I don't know if you agree.
I can understand it from a business point of view and a club point of view because nobody. I mean, the thing with the Luton story is a miracle. I mean, how they've got from non-league to the Premier League. I think Wimbledon were the last team to do it in the 80s or something. You know, so it's not something that happens very, very, especially this day and age. I mean, never ever did you think that was going to happen again. In modern era. But I can see the logic in it. I'm not sure Luton are. They want to stay up, won't they? They're ambitious. They want to stay up, but I think they're more realistic because they're probably thinking, well, the chances of us actually staying in the Premier League are very small. So they're putting in a plan in place to improve the club to get the new stadium, because Kenilworth Road is, let's say, rather old now, and it's got character. That's the problem. All these new stadiums don't have any character, and it's great to have a Premier League ground like Luton's, because it's a throwback to the old Barclays Division 1 in the 80s and 90s, isn't it? Which I love. I think it's brilliant, and the fans are all on top of you because it's very close to pitch. But it's just, I mean, people, the Premier League just expects the best facilities, the best everything, doesn't it? So, I mean, it's funny. Luton had to they need 5 interview rooms now for Premier League, and they had to turn an old store cupboard into an interview room. It was hilarious. It's just because they haven't got a lot of space to work with there. But you know, they've got a plan in place to come. I mean, because they're ambitious enough to say we want to come back. You know, they're an ambitious club. It's not like they're happy just going up and down all the time. I don't think they are. I don't think they want to do that. But they're going to get this money from the Premier League now to push forward. So in some ways, it's a different scenario to say a Norwich or another team, West Brom, for example, and the other 3 that come down, who might not be. Well, they've already got all that stuff in place, haven't they? I don't know, but I just think I do agree to it to a certain extent, but I'm still not sure about these parachute parts. I'm not the 3-year thing. I just don't understand it. You have to use it to your advantage, don't you? And it's there, so Luton will definitely use it to their advantage. They'll get that new stadium. They'll get better facilities, and then they might come back again, and they'll definitely be a strong championship team, that's for sure. So they've got every chance of coming back. So if they go down, you never know. They might pull off a miracle and stay up.
I still think they will, but that's my opinion anyway.
You just don't know. Yeah. I think once they get that first win, you just never know.
Definitely. Okay, well, with 6 minutes to go, we'll go through the rest of the fixtures, and we will come back and talk about at some point about the Step 6 division. And we obviously next week on the show, as well as the Essex Alliance League Cup draws, we're going to have a discussion about the whether the Sadiq Khan's ULEZ will affect football clubs and participation. If you've got an old car and you're driving inside the M25, more or less now, you've got to pay the £12.50. So it'll be interesting to get people's thoughts on that. So we'll be talking about that as well next week. The fixtures tomorrow night, Ash, you mentioned obviously you might be there. Woodford versus Holbridge. That is going to be a big game in the ESL. I'm looking forward to seeing how that pans out. On Saturday, you've got it's Buckhurst Hill against White Ensign, Coggeshall versus Athletic Newham, Great Wakering against Takeley, Ilford versus Saffron Walden, Little Oakley against Barking, and Romford versus FC Clacton. Stanway versus Sporting Bengal, Tilbury against Halstead, and West Essex versus Friendford. So what would you pick out as game of the day there?
So for me, I think 2 games come out to me. There's a Romford Clacton one. Obviously, Clacton's mid-table. They were pushing last year. That's going to be quite interesting. And also, I'll pick out a little one here, the Ilford Saffron Walden one, because obviously, if Ilford haven't won, Saffron Walden haven't been doing as well as they did last year. So, it'd be interesting to see what happens in that one.
Yeah, I think Pete.
I'd say Wakering Takeley. That's a top 6 clash early season, and Oakley Barking would be interesting because both teams have had similar starts to the season and both are expected to be up there. So I think it might be an important game. There's only a point between them, and the winners will obviously point into the top 6 perhaps if they do win. So it's I think that'll be a tasty little game.
Okay. Midweek games in the ESL. Tuesday night is Barking versus Great Wakering at Maidbrook Park. Buckhurst Hill against Athletic Newham. FC Clacton versus Coggeshall. Friendford welcome Romford to the Drive. It's Halstead versus Holbridge. Saffron Walden against Little Oakley, and Stanway against Ilford. And on Wednesday, this will be an interesting one, I think. Sporting Bengal welcome Takeley to Mile End. And White Ensign against Tilbury, and Woodford against West Essex. Ooh, that is a big game. That is a massive game.
It'll probably be 0-0.
Oh God, yeah. No, yeah.
Don't talk it up, as it will be.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's have a look at Eastern Sea or Third Island Division 1 South. Tomorrow night, there's 2 games tomorrow night. It's Basildon Town against Hackney Wick and Main Baker versus St Margaret's-Bury. I think that's going to be an interesting one. Saturday, some very interesting games on Saturday. Burnham, bit of a dodgy run against the Brimsdown side. Could go, I think, they're already above them. But they could.
Well, the next division in the league, it's 6th against 5th. They're on the same number of points. So, that should be a good one.
Clapton under Bash's stable management, and after a big win last weekend, host Hutton. Ooh, yeah.
Who couldn't have much tougher going than that, really? To be honest,
that will be interesting.
Yeah.
Clapton in the community host Hoddesdon, Harlow versus Newbury Forest, Northwest London against Dunmow, Parkview against Benfleet. I think this will be a good game. Southend Manor against Enfield Borough, 2 very steady sides there. Tower Hamlets against Cannons Wood. Don't rule anything out after last weekend. And Wormley versus Barkingside. I don't think you can rule anything out.
Ash, not after what happened last weekend. No.
Yeah, exactly. Ashley, what games stand out for you on Saturday in Thurlow and South?
Saturday that stands out for me, Tower Hamlets against Cannons Wood. I mean, Cannons Wood are right up there, aren't they? And as we say, the bottom 3 are making a little bit of a revival. So let's see what happens. So there's some good ones, and obviously the Burnham against Brimsdown was one as well. The 5th against 6th there, and because Burnham played pretty well against Benfleet the other night. Brimsdown's doing well, so that's another one to keep an eye on at the weekend. So
definitely, Pete, for you.
I'll be interested. Yeah, I mean, obviously Burnham Brimsdown stands out because it's probably to get between 2 teams that will be up there. Well, maybe at the end of the season. I'll be interested what the new look Clapton under Bash should be like against Hutton, because that's a very tough game. If they get something against Hutton, they could probably get something from other teams in this division. So
yeah.
I want to see where they're at. Let's put it that way.
Definitely. Right, midweek in the League Challenge, there's a League Cup tie on Wednesday between Benfleet and Cannons Wood. In the First Division South on Tuesday night, you've got Enfield Borough versus Tower Hamlets. No love lost ever between the towns of Southend and Basildon. It's Southend Manor versus Basildon Town at South Church. Didn't they play each other at the first fixture the other week, I think, didn't they? Yeah, I think they did. Yeah.
Who was that? Who? Sorry, what?
Southend Manor and Basildon Town.
I
think they did. I think. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Basildon won 5-0, didn't they? 5-2. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's. We'll
Quick
see what happens.
Yeah. And St Margaret's-Bury against Harlow, bit of a local derby there. And Wednesday night is Barkingside versus Clapton in the community. Brimsdown versus Parkview. That'll be interesting, local derby as well. Dunmow Town versus Burnham and Hackney Wick against Hutton. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, some good matchups again. We need to see how Manor do against Basildon after losing 5-2 not long ago.
Yes.
But I think Benfleet Cannons Wood, that's a League Cup for them, I know, but should be a decent game. Dunmow Burnham as well. That's a top 6 match, isn't it? So
yeah. Yes. On Saturday, go to Essex Olympian League website for obviously all the fixtures. I think Kelvedon versus Catholic would be an interesting matchup for me, in my personal opinion, because it'd be interesting to see how Catholic respond after defeat last weekend. And also the other game of the day for me, 2 sides have started very well, Sungate and Old Chelmsfordians.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Olympians is always an unpredictable division anyway. So you're going to get some weird results in it at times, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that the top 2 will be. I think the top 3 might be the 3 that are battling for it actually now. But that's a big call so early in the season. But I would say Sungate, Old Chelmsfordians will probably exist 3rd against 4th. So
yeah. For the other divisions, go to the Olympian League website as well. And obviously, in the Alliance League on Friday night, we start with Woodford East against Averley's under-23s. On Saturday, so very interesting. FC Petrocub will look to keep up their 100% record with a win over Chinkford Athletics. So, and obviously, there's a all-reserve tie between Walthamstow Reserves and Frenford Reserves. So that will be another interesting weekend, guys. Any other games stand out for you?
What in the Alliance or?
Yep.
I don't know what the games are.
Okay. I'll tell you.
You haven't told me the game.
Yeah. So Baker 6-night will main Baker Reserves against CSM. Chadwell Heath against Sporting Hackney. FC Baresi against Kit Out London. Petrocub against Chinkford. Linmore Gardens against Haringey's under-23s. Priory Park Rangers against Chinkford. Rapid Chinkford. So many Chinkford teams in this division. Walthamstow Reserves against Frenford Reserves.
Well, none of them really stand out, but obviously Petrocub and Chingford. Petrocub have won all their games. Chingford lost all their games. So you know what's going to happen.
Definitely. Okay. Well, that is about it from the Grassroots Football Show here on East London Radio for this week. Ashley, thank you so much for being here again. And
No
obviously we look
problem.
forward to having you back more often during the season. As I said, next week is obviously Alliance League Cup draws. So join me, myself, Pete, and Rob Parker for that one. So it should be interesting. Pete, have you decided where you're going the weekend?
Well, Saturday I'm at Coggleshaw Athletic Newham.
Oh yeah, of course you're going.
Because I'm going with Rob Errington and Scott. So
yeah.
So I'm getting a lift.
Yay!
So I'll be at Coggleshaw Saturday. Yes.
So it'd be nice to hear your take on it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Obviously, if Richard Kone has a good game,
that's what I was going to say. Is he going to score an hat-trick again?
It could be a long afternoon for the hosts, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, they've already put one relegated side to the sword, so yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Well, that is about it. As I said, the show will be available on Mixcloud later this evening, YouTube, whenever. But we will. Ian, thanks very much for pushing buttons again.
Okay.
Yes. And we will see you next week. From all of us here on GFS, good night.
Good night.
All right.
Good night.